Hi, my name is Paul Offit. It's February 25th, 2025. What I want to talk to you about today is measles, which is in the news because of an outbreak in West Texas. But I want to try and put it in historical perspective by looking at other recent measles outbreaks. So for example, in 1991 to 1992, there was an outbreak of measles in Philadelphia. Over a several month period, we experienced 1,400 cases of measles and 9 deaths. That is a death rate of around 0.6% or 6 per thousand, which is higher than the typical death rate, which is about 1 per thousand. Now, this outbreak centered on two fundamentalist religious groups, Faith Tabernacle and First Century Gospel. Those groups refused to vaccinate their children. They also refused medical care, which is why the incidence of death was so high. The next outbreak occurred between 1999 and 2000 in the Netherlands. This outbreak involved around 3,400 people, again, mostly children. 3 died, which is a death rate of 1 per thousand, which is typical for measles before, say, there was a measles vaccine in 1963. And again, it's centered on an Orthodox Reformed church, which for the most part chose not to vaccinate, although those groups weren't completely unvaccinated, they were just under-vaccinated. The third outbreak occurred in Brooklyn, New York between 2018 and 2019. This outbreak involved about 650 cases. There were no deaths. There were fewer than 1,000 cases, so you would expect there would have been no deaths. But again, it centered on an ultra-Orthodox Jewish community that was under-vaccinated. Now we have the Texas outbreak in 2025 in West Texas, which has spilled over into New Mexico. It's been about 100 cases, a little less than 24 hospitalizations, and no deaths yet. But again, it centers on a religious group that is under-vaccinated, a Mennonite group. There are 44 states in the United States that allow religious exemptions. So I don't think we're seeing the end of this, as there's been a gradual erosion in vaccine rates, as reported recently by the CDC, that more parents are choosing non-medical exemptions, either religious exemptions or philosophical exemptions for their children. I think that this is something that we're going to be seeing more and more of in the future. What struck me about all this is this a religious act? Is a choice not to vaccinate your child a religious act? This is something I dealt with when we were taking care of children at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia who would come in with vaccine-preventable diseases whose parents had chosen not to vaccinate them because of their religious beliefs. Most striking for me was that 1991-1992 Philadelphia measles outbreak where we had 1,400 cases and 9 deaths. And the chaplain in our hospital said something to me that I'll never forget. She had a quote out of Matthew, which was Jesus saying, quote, "Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto the least of my brethren, you have done it unto me." Meaning, let's protect our children. She said you could put that quote on the front of every pediatric hospital in the United States. So it seems to me and to her that choosing to put your child in harm's way wasn't a religious act. Nonetheless, 44 states have legal religious exemptions to vaccination, and this is something we're going to be living with, I think, more and more as vaccine rates erode. Thank you for your attention.